Hey, what's up? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of SimplyPodLogical, a Simply Nailogical podcast.
Hello.
Today, we're giving some unsolicited relationship advice to anonymous posters on Reddit.
No one asked us for this.
No one asked for this, but before we give you that unsolicited advice, we've got some advice for all of you, and that's that you should have a delicious, nutritious breakfast every morning. It's good for you.
Very important.
And if you'd like to do that, you could go to www.oats.com/simply and try oats overnight. It's a delicious breakfast that's high in protein, low in sugar, high in fiber, I think.
Gluten-free with dairy-free options.
And even if you don't care about all those things, it just tastes delicious and it's super easy. You make it the night before, you leave it in the fridge, and then you don't have to worry about anything in the morning.
Yeah, even if you don't care about your health, it's just really easy to make.
That's right. Again, that's oats.com/simply, and you can use code SIMPLY for 10% off. Enjoy your oats.
I love them. I had the peanut butter cocoa cookie dough crunch. It's like the really long name one. I really love that one.
That's your go-to, right? Yeah. And they've had these secret flavors coming out lately that are pretty fun too. Very fun oats.
Thank you, Oats Overnight, for sponsoring me.
All right, so let's just hop right into questions. So you may have seen these before. It's a really popular subreddit called, I think it's just called Our Relationship Advice. But then you'll see accounts on Twitter and stuff that sort of aggregate some of the more interesting ones for your entertainment. The people posting this, like, I wonder if they're like legitimately looking for advice or if it's more fun sometimes. Like, you don't really know if they're real or not, frankly.
So just for those people like me who are just like not really aware of the Reddit posting culture and soliciting for advice,
Okay.
Tell us, Ben. On Reddit, there are many different threads or groups where people solicit advice for all different reasons, right? Like not just relationships.
Sure,
There's
this is just
threads,
one of the more popular subreddits that
but
people
will
frequent.
intentionally post like their issue or problem because they are looking for input, right? So it's kind of like the modern day Ask Alice. Do you remember that? Do you know what that is? I think it was a really like young woman thing. Like
is it
back
like
when
Dear Prudence, like you would write in for advice?
Ask Alice, or there was another one like in 17 magazine, I think it was, where you would write in to try and get advice. Okay. But the advice was coming from one person. It was like the editor of a magazine. Yeah. Meanwhile, possibly the whole world could be reading about your problem in a magazine later, but they're just unable to respond. So this is just like a modern version of that, but everyone can respond.
You're crowdsourcing the advice rather than just relying on one expert.
It's like a Kickstarter.
Because it's 2020. We don't believe experts anymore. The mob is always correct, right?
Yeah, who's Alice? Fuck Alice.
Yeah, I don't know her. But yeah, there's like the relationship advice one. Another really popular one is like, am I the asshole? It's something like that. But it's basically you describe a situation and you ask people like, was I the jerk in this situation or is everyone else wrong?
That's so cool.
So yeah, there's some funny subreddits. People are anonymously posting there. I think it's okay that we're just reading these stories. I mean, people post these to the internet presumably to get input on them.
It's their lucky day.
We'll just leave the names out of it. And yeah, as a internet couple, I don't know if that's a healthy thing or not. We're just going to give our perspective. Actually, as people who have been in a relationship for we're almost on we don't really have an anniversary, so to speak. We don't celebrate a date, but our first date was in November.
8 years ago.
So it's almost been 8. As of this month, we'll have been in a relationship for 8 years.
We've been together longer than Simply Nailogical existed.
Yeah, and that's a good thing, I think, right? Have you ever imagined what it would have been like dating after you became kind of internet famous?
I'm not interested.
Not interested? No dating?
I'm good. I did make one video on searching on Tinder for a new drink slave, if you recall.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Did anyone recognize you in that video?
No.
I don't think so.
No, just people got angry with me later.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't do a video like that these days. Anyway, let's hop into some relationship advice.
Tell us, Ben. Wow, that's a long one. So are they all this long?
They're not all this long, but here's one that tickles my fancy. So I discovered that I really love frogs, and 2 years ago I started bringing them home and rescuing them. Now I have around 14 different types of frogs, and I've raised them as if they were my own children. They helped me decide to be a biologist, and I'm currently in college pursuing that dream. They've helped me cope with the loss of most of my friendships and a really bad phase of depression, as even though I didn't want to take care of myself, I still took care of my frogs. At times it felt like the only reason I was still here was to nurture them and give them comfortable homes. About 6 months ago, I met my boyfriend and we immediately hit it off and hang out every day. He's expressed to me that he's not a huge fan of animals, and I never really press him about it. Well, he's decided that he wants to go somewhere else for grad school and has invited me to go with him and live with him under one condition. I have to rehome all but 3 of my frogs. I'm heartbroken because I don't want to feel like I have to choose between the 2 most important things in my life. I'm frustrated and feel like it's unfair of him to make me rehome all of them. I've tried to make compromises, offering to rehome half or even pay extra for us to have an extra bedroom for my frogs, so he wouldn't have to see or interact with them. He says he doesn't like them because they're ugly, which is, to me, is completely outrageous for him to be so dismissive of something I'm so passionate about. I'm not sure what I should do, if I should break up with him or and not go, or if maybe I have too many frogs and if I should rehome some, please help. What do you think, Cristine? Does she have too many frogs? How many frogs is too many frogs?
That's not really the question. Hey, if she kisses him, will he turn into a frog?
I'm guessing she's tried that already. She probably wishes it was true.
So I know that some of these posts might be trolls, but I feel like she's telling the truth because she did get very sincere about how they mean a lot to her and they've helped her through long times. And maybe, you or I aren't really into frogs or see why they're cute or, may elicit cozy emotions, but I can appreciate that someone else might feel that way about different types of animals.
You could apply this to any sort of, like, maybe you're just really passionate about cats and you have a bunch of cats.
Yeah.
Or maybe your girlfriend's a little nuts and she has thousands of bottles of nail polish.
I mean, if you just replace frogs with cats, like, this is me. Like, I wrote this.
But like, actually, so that's a good parallel to draw, because what if I hated cats and you wanted 20 of them? Wouldn't there be a reasonable conversation about what the compromise is?
No. And that's what she was getting to, right? Like, there is a compromise somewhere because you are allergic to cats. You don't hate cats, but you're allergic. So that's why we don't have 20. Because I'm not trying to kill you.
I guess the thing I don't understand in this case is why it bothers him that she has frogs and likes having frogs. And, like, if your partner clearly gets so much enjoyment out of something and it's not to your detriment in any way, why would you care?
If I had to, the fact that she said she even offered to pay extra for an extra bedroom for the frog so that he wouldn't have to be in the same, like, sleeping in the same room. Like, I thought that was a very nice gesture. Because I could understand, maybe you don't want frogs, like, right beside you all the time. I can't remember the last time I played with a frog, but I think they probably smell, like, a little bit. And maybe that bothers him. And maybe when you have 14 frogs, it is a smell you can't ignore. I don't know. That's just a guess. But the fact that she's, like, offered another bedroom and a place to keep them, and she's, at least according to her, not trying to rub the frogs in his face. Yeah. Unlike Menchie.
A spare bedroom for frogs.
Yeah. Then I don't know. Like, this is a tricky one because they clearly mean so much to her, and there's got to be some compromise that can work. But she's saying that she doesn't want to lose any of the frogs, right? Is that?
Yeah, I guess for her, like, do you need as many frogs? First of all, if your partner is saying you can't do something, like, you don't need your partner's permission to do those things.
Except when you live together. It's your mutual home, so... I'm
just saying, you see some questions like this or posts like this where often a woman will be like, my boyfriend doesn't want to allow me to do something. I just think it's kind of needs to be said, first of all, that, like, that's not how you should look at a partnership like that. Is like, you don't need your partner's permission to, like the things you like. Exactly. I understand that this is a more reasonable kind of description of a problem where they need to compromise on something and maybe don't want to live with 15 frogs, maybe just 3 of them, and that's fine.
It sounds like he's not upset that she loves frogs. He's just upset that he has to live with 14 of them.
Well, I still think it's unclear why he's upset. Like, unless he's just surrounded by frogs all day, I don't get it. But, like, here, let's talk about your nail polish thing, because maybe there's a parallel. We can find a bit of an answer. When you first started getting into nail polish, it wasn't part of a social media career or anything like that.
Just me by myself.
It's just you had an obsession with the nail polish, and that's fine. And I don't have to understand why you like all the things you like. I think it's important to kind of understand what your partner's interests are and maybe take an interest in them to some degree. With you, I took an interest in nail polish just because you were so invested in it.
do you mean you took an interest in nail polish?
Well, I took an interest from the sense of like...
No, you just accepted my... You didn't start painting your nails.
I am only interested in nail polish today, I guess what I'm saying, as a way of working on a business with you or spending time with you working on something. I'm not really interested in nail polish
for yourself,
in and of itself.
But you can appreciate that I am personally interested in nail polish.
Yeah.
Even before this was all a business. Like, I just wanted to collect all the colors and paint my nails and organize them nicely. And you built me a shelf, even though you don't give a shit that I have so much nail polish. In fact, you probably hated that we had hundreds of bottles just taking up space, but you still accepted my passion and even helped me build it by literally building me shelves.
Yeah, because as a partner, I want to be supportive and I want you to enjoy the things you enjoy. If it was to my detriment, like let's say I hated the smell of nail polish.
Yeah.
I might say, hey, could you open a window while you're painting your nails? And just ask you to take maybe some reasonable steps to not just be, you know, putting it in my face or enjoying your hobby in a way that is making me less comfortable.
But so what could we suggest here?
But that's the thing where I don't get Mr. Anti-Frog guy. I understand not wanting to come home on a long day of work and you come home and your apartment is just like yeah, exactly. But like if it's the fact that she wants to have a little second bedroom where she has a healthy setup for a small number of frogs, like that really shouldn't be an issue. I don't really understand why that would be an issue.
And are they in some kind of encasement, like a frog aquarium?
I don't know how you're supposed to take care of frogs. I don't know if you should own 15 frogs. Like even if you're passionate about frogs, like are you just kind of, do you have a frog collecting problem at that point? Because if someone had 15 cats, I would think unless you run like a rescue or you have a barn, then maybe you're just kind of a hoarder or something, and that's a sign of something else. So I don't know. What's the advice here?
I always go back to, hey, we're only seeing this from her perspective, though. We are seeing it only from her perspective. And so we are getting the cues of how they really did help her mental health, which you want to side with that. Like, you automatically, as a normal, good human, want to side with, like, what's the best thing for your mental health, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I lean. Like, I'm like, feel bad for her that her boyfriend hates her frogs. But, like, we haven't heard his side. Mm-hmm. And maybe 15, 14 frogs croaking at him is disturbing his mental health. You know, like, I don't know. So it is hard to look at these and give straight up advice when you only are usually hearing it from one party. This is an adversarial courtroom. We're going to need to hear from the defense.
Maybe we need to ask one of those Dear Prudence. We need an expert opinion on this one. All right, let's move on. So this may sound like a stupid question, but I'm genuinely concerned since I'm not very experienced. I've been on one date with this girl and we had ice cream, which I bought, and some weeks later she rejected me. But now that so much time has passed since our last date, I invited her to have lunch even though I know she isn't into me. Is there any possibility for her to like me if I keep inviting her to dates and buying her food?
Buying food specifically is key
is that
to getting girls to like you.
This really kind of makes, I'm assuming this is written by like a 15-year-old or something, or it sounds like, I mean, they admitted they're inexperienced. Like the foundation of a relationship or getting someone of the opposite gender or the people you're interested in, whatever, to like you shouldn't be you buying them things. Mm-hmm. Right, Cristine?
Food or gifts. Yeah, shouldn't be that. That being said, I still understand that sometimes you just want to express a token of your interest or just like being kind to someone. So you get them something small, and it's not always about expensive things. And here's an example of something you can, just a nice thing you could bring over dinner for someone. And it's not necessarily expensive, right? Like if you buy them an ice cream cone, but it's a nice token of like, hey, I thought of you. Right? It's a thought thing.
That's the thing. So I think guys like this have the wrong idea that just getting things for people is what makes them like them. Yeah. When really like the reason gifts are effective is that if they're a good gift, they're evidence that you actually listen to someone. You know what I mean? Like the best gift is evidence that you actually listen to what someone likes or is interested in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think, speaking very broadly, I don't think women want to be like taken care of by men as much as they want men to like listen to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want your money. Just listen to my feelings.
And like even when you like have a problem and you want to like vent to me about it, I know even you, a problem solver, you're not telling me your problems so like I'll go out and solve them for you.
Yeah.
It's just about like, listening. Guys,
Yeah,
if I have any advice for you, just listen to women.
Listen and be helpful. And if she says she wants ice cream, then maybe get ice cream. But if she didn't ask for it. So wait, so what's our advice? Would a girl start liking me if I buy her food? I think that the quick answer is not necessarily.
Well, yeah, no. If someone has already expressed that they're not interested in you romantically, don't try to pursue them romantically by spending money on them. Mm-hmm. You just, just keep searching. I know.
Ask her out on a date because it sounds like you've been on. Yeah.
Well, no, it sounds like she's maybe only going on dates with him because he's buying her things.
I don't think that's true at all. I highly doubt that.
Some weeks later she rejected me.
Because maybe she just changed her mind and this happens. But I don't think she rejected this person because they weren't offering food. Like, it has nothing to do with food.
No, but I think she's expressed that she doesn't actually like him.
And so he's asking, but if I offer her food, will she accept me? And I think the answer is probably not. Because I'm assuming when I was a young woman, I never made my decisions on who I would date based on whether or not the guy brought me ice cream. But that's just me. Maybe there's other women who said, yes, because of ice cream.
But good luck. It's hard out there.
It is hard out there. I hope you got some good advice in the Reddit thread.
All right, next one. So 20-year-old man, hooked up with this girl I met on Tinder, 20-year-old female. I have a golden retriever who I don't usually have a problem with, but he chewed up her shoes for some reason. I ask all my guests to take their shoes off before entering and leave them by the door, just not to track dirt. This girl in particular is a sugar baby and dressed really nice. She has a Louis Vuitton bag, Tiffany necklace, etc., and drove a nice car. She was chill and said she wasn't looking for anything more or serious. However, when she was leaving, we noticed one of her shoes was missing. We looked around and found my dog chewing on it. It was barely recognizable. Like I said, he hasn't done something like this in years, so I couldn't have expected it. However, apparently the shoes were worth over $1,200. They were Gucci boots. She is demanding I pay for the damages because my dog did it. But I just don't have that type of money. If I don't pay for it, can she pursue legal action?
Uh-oh. Lawsuit.
I guess technically she could. Okay, but...
Destruction of property, damage of property.
Forget
maybe.
The legal aspect of it. If you're... what is the reasonable expectation that, you're taking some risk by going to some stranger's house with...
No,
I don't even know how to look at this.
So, yeah, this is tricky.
Aren't you taking the risk by having shoes that expensive? To some degree.
And you're taking them to private property, which you have not previously occupied or have any guarantee of security. I can see that argument.
Like maybe he should just buy her some like Reeboks for like $50. He has to replace shoes.
Well,
but
it's like, hey,
$1,200 shoes.
Good point. If you're in a car wreck and you have car insurance, but you got all these special options on your car, they don't pay for that when they pay back for your car. They pay for the base model.
Okay.
But that's if you even purchased insurance. In this case, I don't see how she would have purchased insurance. What insurance? Okay, so we're looking at it from a way too pragmatic way. Let's look at it from putting ourselves in each other's shoes. In each situation. So if I was her, if we were her, I would be upset that someone's fucking dog ate my shoes. Yeah. And that was my investment. I put a lot of money, or actually maybe I didn't because I had a sugar daddy.
Could just be saying that doesn't matter.
But whatever,
she had something
it doesn't
expensive.
matter. She had something expensive. She had the reasonable expectation that they wouldn't be destroyed. Yeah. Right? Like, why would you think that? And she would be really upset. And she would think that the reasonable thing to do would be for the other person to reimburse her for what he did, which is ultimately his animal caused this damage. You're responsible for what your pets do, usually. Right? So that's how I would feel if I was her. But if I was him, I could also see being like, it's not my problem that you bought $1,200 shoes. I apologize that this happened. I truly am sorry that my animal did this. And I'm so sorry. And I did not know that you would have $1,200 shoes just sitting there. And I don't know what to tell you because it's not something I can afford. And that's what he's saying. Like, he just doesn't have the money.
Yeah.
So he can express his apologies.
Maybe because this is someone who's buying $1,400 shoes, I'm really having trouble feeling sympathy for them in this situation. Also, are you not...
Because you assume they just have a lot of money if they're buying shoes that expensive, so that's not an issue?
Yeah,
but
I guess
isn't it all relative? Someone who bought
being...
$60 shoes, that might have been proportional to their income too, and they'd still be upset if their shoes got ruined.
But it's not really a proportional thing. It's like why in some countries speeding tickets are like proportional to how much income you make. And someone who's like making millions of dollars will get like $100,000 speeding ticket. So I just have trouble. I mean, there are people who buy really expensive clothes like this, even though they really shouldn't be and can't really afford them though too, right?
Well, here's a good example. So I've never bought myself a really expensive purse ever in my life. Like the most expensive purse I bought was like a Coach purse for $300. And you've bought me an expensive purse once.
I did.
A Burberry purse.
Ooh, that's as fancy as we get.
But I also had a Chanel purse given to me by people we will not name 4 years ago. I've never owned Chanel before. It was gifted to me unexpectedly. And I was so scared. When I looked it up, it was worth like $6,000. And as a result, I was too scared to carry it anywhere. So I wouldn't have gone to someone's house or a party or out because I knew it was of so much value. And that if I lost it or if someone saw it and thought I was worth pickpocketing because of it, I would hate myself. So I, maybe just being too conservative and not wanting to live my life with Chanel, I put it in my closet because I thought that was the safe thing to do. But anytime you take jewelry or a purse out into the world, you are assuming the risk of something maybe happening to you. I'm not saying that means it's okay to steal from you. It is not. But just like, you know, if you wear your favorite jeans out, like maybe they're going to get some dirt at the bottom. Like you just kind of accept that, or your favorite shoes, right? So
I think this is a good way of, because you almost need like a reasonableness test. Yes, if someone's dog destroys your thing, there should be a reasonable expectation that they try to make that up to you because they take responsibility for it.
Yeah.
But they could not have reasonably guessed that your shoes were over $1,000. You know what I mean?
This sounds like something a judge would say. Like, you're so good at this. Therefore, my dissenting opinion is...
Yeah, so I think you don't owe her $1,200 Gucci shoes, but...
I think you owe her the reasonable attempt to replace.
But this is also some like casual hookup.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say like you're taking your chances, shit happens, but I'm just actually trying to put myself in the scenario. There's no way I'm trying to get money out of this person in this context if I'm her. I can't imagine. I just don't see that actually playing out. Yeah,
if I were her, I would feel too bad asking him for money. Like, I would be like, wow, I feel dumb.
Maybe that's just the Canadian in us. But,
like, I wouldn't ask someone for money if that happened to me.
No. Yeah.
But
all right, case closed.
All right, I'm so sorry about your shoes.
Next one. Me, I'm a 27-year-old woman. My boyfriend, 28-year-old male, is lying about being a doctor.
I've seen this show before.
What, Dirty John?
Dirty John, season 1.
Christine keeps talking about this show. I met my boyfriend 9 months ago through a dating app. He told me he worked as a doctor and he was in his second-year residency at the local hospital. I soon found out that he has been lying about this. I first suspected he was making it up when his work hours didn't add up. He would be at work from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., and as far as I know, doctors work a lot of hours a week. He would come to see me after he finished work and even tell me stories about patients he saw that day. Luckily, my aunt's husband is a doctor at the hospital, so I asked him if he knew my boyfriend, and he said he doesn't know anyone by that name. I have no idea why he would lie about something like this, and I have no idea how to confront him about it.
Well, I know why he would lie about that.
Why would he lie about it?
Because it sounds cool. Tell the ladies that you're a doctor when you're not a doctor. He probably watched Grey's Anatomy and thought, she'll find me more attractive.
Maybe he's a big fan of Dr. Mike, you know?
Yeah, or that.
I mean, I don't know if she's done quite enough work to confirm he isn't a doctor. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people work at hospitals. Did your uncle, look up the staff registry and confirm his name wasn't there? Or did she ask her uncle and he was just like, I don't know that guy?
This is weird because, where are they? Because we can just look on the internet. There is a national directory for doctors, or maybe it's provincial. Like, it'll say the doctors and their classifications and where they are licensed to practice. Like, that's how you find doctors in Ontario. I don't know where they are.
Even if there isn't a directory, if you Google someone's name, you can probably pretty quickly find some evidence.
Did she never mention Googling him? Like, that was not in her her
Yeah, when
initial analysis.
Also, I guess here's just a broader point. When you're dating people
You should
in
stalk
2020,
them on the internet.
it's kind of like a prerequisite to
Yeah.
Google them, right? Or just like look up their social media and all that.
Yeah, and I don't think
Right?
I think there used to be something weird about that.
Was there?
Yeah, like employers were always told like you're not allowed to look up people on the internet before you hire them.
Really?
Yeah.
Who would have been told that? Told by who?
The government.
What?
Yeah, like technically you weren't supposed to do that as a manager or an employer, like looking up
Someone's like Facebook.
before
account.
you hire them, because the idea was like you're not supposed to discriminate against their personal life choices, if you're intending to hire them. I just like social media has changed so much though that like now a lot of people have professional accounts, like they're journalists with Twitter. Like why wouldn't you look them up on social media? It's a weird rule to apply now. I think it made sense like 15 years ago when you only use social media for very personal things maybe, but now things have changed.
Maybe. Although, like, I remember, I had a distant relative who was applying for a private school and didn't get into it because when they were applying, the people looked at their social media and saw pictures of them doing things, right? So
Doing what?
I think just like
Drugs?
something innocuous is like just like drinking or something.
Okay,
But
yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know what the expectation is on how much employers or people can't look at your social media. I think you should just assume they are going to do that, even if they're not technically supposed to.
So back to boyfriend lying about being a doctor.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. The bigger issue is if he's actually lying.
The bigger issue is you're telling me you didn't look him up on Google or the social media.
Yeah, the onus is somewhat on you to do your... No. So obviously this is a crazy person if they're lying about it, especially if they're like... I mean, it just makes it a little bit worse if they're like also just making up details. Because if they're able to completely fabricate the scenarios they get into every day as a doctor, then that's a sign like they're really good at lying.
So my advice though is I think at this stage, based on what she's told us, I wouldn't go ahead and confront him because it sounds like it's her next step. Like I have no idea how to confront him. I don't think you have enough evidence to quote unquote confront him and accuse him of this. Like maybe your aunt's husband just doesn't know him, right? Like maybe it's a big hospital. I don't think that's good enough evidence so far. So I wouldn't accuse him of that when like maybe he is totally telling the truth and like there's just one missing piece of information.
Yeah, so the confrontation could be more like, hey, my
Take me to work day.
Show up at work. I don't know. This is so bizarre because, like, what is the end game to someone lying like this, right?
If I was her, I'd want to know that he was lying, and I think anyone would reasonably.
But I'm thinking from his perspective, this isn't a lie you can get away with forever.
Oh, some men try. I've seen it in TV shows.
Only men.
How
did they get away with it in the TV show?
Well, they don't get away with it. It does catch up to them eventually, but they like living in a dreamland where their girlfriend thinks that they're a doctor and they feel important. And it's kind of an ego thing because it's maybe something that they couldn't accomplish.
I just feel like I have trouble imagining how you could keep up that lie for more than a couple months.
I think keeping up the lie is part of the fun to some people too.
Yeah. So so then that's a crazy person you want nothing to do with, right?
Yeah, so do your research. Don't date crazy people who lie.
You either have to confront him in this case or
research first.
Confronting someone about that would be kind of terrifying, right?
Yeah, I'd be scared. Like, what if he's lying and he's a psychopath and he murders you? Like, so don't confront him right away. Like, you got to be safe. You got to think of yourself.
All right. I hope you figured it out, whoever you are. All right, next one. I need some advice. My husband and I have been married for 2 years, and I love him more than anything. He's sweet and perfect in nearly every way, but he has a funny habit of using my socks to wash his face.
This is not true.
I have a lot of single socks missing from their pair. I've brought him face towels, so he'll stop using my socks as towels, but he has no interest in them. He says that my socks are more comfortable on his skin and do a better job of cleaning. I've even tried buying different kinds of towels, some very soft, but he still only wants to wash his face with my socks. What do I do? I love my husband very much, and I want to know why he's doing this and what I should do.
Okay, this isn't true, right? Like, this is a troll.
Why do you think it's fake?
Because it's just so silly.
You know why I think it's fake? Men don't wash their faces. You know?
Yeah, true.
Like, my skincare routine is, if I'm downstairs in the kitchen, I'll just use the dish soap to wash my hands.
I thought you were going to say to wash your face. I'm like, please.
And maybe occasionally I'll have like my hands soapy, and I might just like also wipe my face.
That's
That's my version of washing my face.
Great. Thank you for that. We're so glad to know what's living in your beard. I don't believe this story. I just think it's too ridiculous.
All right, let's pretend for a second it is true.
So
would this be a deal breaker for you if I started using your socks to wash my face?
Yeah, I'd be upset.
Why?
Because like they're my socks, first of all. Use your own fucking socks.
Maybe I just really like the way your feet smell.
But just the reason why I also think this weirdo. The reason why I also think this isn't true is that the husband specifically wants her socks. Like, all socks are the same once you wash them. Like, I don't understand.
No, there's clearly some sort of fetish or something going on here if this is a true story.
I don't believe it. If it were true, though.
If it was just socks, just buy a bunch more socks and then you're not worried about it.
Well, okay, let me analyze this from a practical perspective. Socks are kind of more like a microfiber terry cloth fabric. Mm-hmm. And so you can buy face towels or some towels that are terry cloth.
Yeah.
So they're more like beach towels almost. So I would suggest you go to Bed Bath & Beyond and take a look at the face towels that are made of microfiber or terry cloth, and he might be satisfied with those.
And that would prove whether it's really just the material of your socks he prefers, or if he's getting off on using the stinky socks that were on your feet.
She didn't say anything about him getting off on it.
But I'm just saying this will prove if it's something about the fact that they're her socks that he wants, whether it's like a power move or something, or if it's something he enjoys about the fact that they're hers.
Move. I'm going to wash my face with your feet.
Are you saying you've never dried your face off with a sock before?
No.
Maybe when you were in university, you ran out of towels and you just used a sock as a towel?
I mean, like I might have wiped my nose once, like because it was the only.
Like you blew your nose into a sock?
No, just like quickly wiped because I saw it on the floor. I don't know. but like only because I didn't have any other options at the time. But it sounds like he has options. He's just choosing to use the socks. So I divorce is also an option. I'm just kidding.
I think you should just let him use your socks.
Yeah,
what's mine is yours.
What's the big deal? Use his socks.
Yeah, you use his, if he's using yours.
Yeah,
you use his.
Just like one day in the morning, he gets in the washroom and you're just washing your face with his socks. I would totally do that. Okay, next.
All right, next.
It's too much fun.
Ever since I discovered how good it was as a student, one of my favorite snacks has been cold beans eaten straight from the can with a spoon. The problem is that since getting into my relationship around a year ago, I can no longer do this. Whenever I've opened a can and started to eat it, he's berated me and told me how disgusting it is relentlessly. Then he refuses to kiss me for hours because I smell like beans. This makes me feel really small and insecure. It's like I can't be myself and do the things I want because he's disgusted by it. This may seem trivial, but I honestly don't know what to do about it. How do I tell him that it isn't up to him to decide what foods I eat without coming across as standoffish?
I relate to this.
Do you? Wait, who do you relate to? Which person?
Him.
Well, then you're a monster.
Except it's you and the food is hummus.
But okay, maybe this will open your eyes to the fact that why should it bother you?
It's a joke for the most part, just to be clear. I don't think it's disgusting that you eat hummus. Mm-hmm. You just eat 5 tubs of it in 3 days.
Well, it's kind of like her and her beans, you know? She's eating beans out of a can. I eat hummus out of a tub.
I don't care how you eat it. It's how much you eat. It's not a healthy, balanced diet. Does she have a healthy, balanced diet? That's what I want to know.
Okay. So it's okay if he doesn't like her bean eating if it's because he's worried about her diet.
No, that sounds wrong too. I'm not saying I'm worried about the diet.
I don't mean it that
bad word.
No, it's legitimate. If you're worried about your partner's health because of their eating habits, that's a legitimate thing.
Okay, let's not blow this out of proportion. I don't have serious concerns about your health. I just have concerns that you fill up on 3 tubs of hummus and then you don't really eat a balanced lunch. That's all. Okay, this is way it really doesn't matter that much. But what I'm trying to say is I also think this is fake, but I do think that the sentiment around it is true. Like there might be things that one partner does that the other finds kind of gross or off-putting, and they would wish that person would stop doing it. Maybe like the bean eating is a troll. I don't know about that. Eating an entire can of cold beans all the time and being obsessed with it. That sounds kind of like she's just looking for a laugh, but
No, but I like if she actually just smells like beans all the time, then yeah, maybe that is a bit of an issue. But if it's again, if it's one of those things where like your partner really likes something and it doesn't bother you, then why
it
would
does
you
bother
care?
him. That's what he's
I guess
saying.
the question is why should it bother him? Does she actually smell like beans or does he just have some weird hang up about people who eat beans?
And I guess, yeah, we don't know because we're only seeing her perspective. I've never eaten a cold can of beans, so I couldn't tell
Wait,
you if it
you've
really
never
smells.
had a cold can of beans?
I've
Like
had
the Heinz, like they're really they're
Ew.
sugary, eh? They're full of sugar, I think.
I've had cold can of Chef Boyardee in university. Is it the same thing? No, because those aren't.
I mean, it's in
That's
a
like pasta
similar,
sauce.
like kind of tomatoey sweet sauce, but we're literally
not
just talking
beans.
like Heinz baked beans.
So,
I think that's what we're
and
talking
they
about.
kind of smell, right? Like it smells at least like metal.
Well, they will make you more likely to pass gas if you eat a lot of them.
So is that his issue, or is it just the breath?
That didn't come up in
I
this
think it
scenario.
was just like the breath.
Yeah, but anything you eat will make your breath smell like
Hummus.
what you're eating. Yeah, I probably smell like hummus all the time. Does that bother you? Do I ever smell like hummus?
Only when you've just eaten it, and then I look at you and you have a guilty face, and I know that you just had hummus.
Well, this is your fault though, because you've made me like not want to eat hummus in front of you. So I have to like sneak into the bathroom and eat hummus there, or I go
Okay,
down to the
silly.
basement and I eat some basement hummus,
But I know that you've
or I
eaten.
go into the closet. I'm eating hummus in the closet now.
He's lying. Okay, don't even
No,
stop.
help. If I blink 3 times in a row in a Simply Nailogical video, I'm asking for help.
Let's answer her question. How do I tell him that it isn't up to him to decide what foods I eat?
Well, this shouldn't be some big like orchestrated thing. Next time you're eating beans and he's like, "Don't eat beans," and you're like, "Why? I like beans." And then if he has no reason why you shouldn't eat beans, then you keep eating your beans.
Well, his reason is that he doesn't want to kiss her because she smells like beans, and maybe
That's
he
his
doesn't like
loss.
beans.
Then he's not gonna get any of these lips.
Yeah, maybe you just find someone who likes to kiss beans. Sounds.
Find someone you could eat beans with together.
Yeah. Oh my god.
All right, next.
Okay.
I've been with my boyfriend for 10 months. He's the best boyfriend I've ever had. He's so sweet and attentive. He always puts me first, and it's honestly a breath of fresh air compared to my past relationships. He's a chef.
Actually,
Whenever we went out to eat, he would always love to feed me a bite of his food. I never minded and thought it was cute. When we started hanging out at each other's houses, he would always offer to cook and then he would feed me my meal. I told him it's fine, I can feed myself, but he would always insist. He said he loves feeding beautiful women food. Now it's kind of escalating. He wants to feed me on his lap. I told him that I'm not interested in sitting on his lap and getting fed. I'd rather just watch the show and eat my chips myself instead of a whole meal he made. When I say no, he gets a bit awkward and I start to feel bad. But it's so weird how he loves to feed me all my meals. Why? I know there's way weirder things out there and the intention is sweet, but I'm starting to think it might be a kink or something. I don't discuss the intimates of my relationship with my friends, so I'm on here. Is this weird or sweet? By the way, this is a daily occurrence whenever we're together.
I mean, I don't know if this is real, but it could be. I think
It's on the internet. Like, you could say that about everything.
It's weird or sweet.
Or both.
Or both. It depends how you perceive it. Like some
Yeah.
people might like this and think it's sweet, and other people will be like, "Get the fuck out of my face."
It is. You would kind of feel babied in a weird way. Yeah, there's a weird dynamic to it, right?
But I think that is subjective.
Totally, yeah.
Or
I think
for
so.
most people it's subjective, but for some people this is subjective territory, I think. Like personally, I don't want to be fed. Sorry, Ben. You're not putting a spooning
Nice
hummus
spoon
in
feed
my
you hummus. It's like an airplane.
But maybe this isn't like a kink like she's thinking, and he really just, that's his way of showing how he cares. That's his love language, is putting food in your mouth.
Yeah, but does he have to do it all the time? Especially
Maybe
if she doesn't get anything out of it and it's really more for his gratification?
You'd think that he wouldn't be so gratified by it if she was like, "I'm not really into you feeding me all the time." You'd think he'd be like, "Okay, I don't want to do that then."
Good point, right? You'd
Yeah.
think the enjoyment would be mostly in you thinking you're making the other person feel good by
Right.
enjoying your cooking.
So if she's like, "Can I just just pass me the goddamn porn. Like, he would well, she said that he gets a bit awkward and she starts to feel bad for making him feel like embarrassed that he likes to feed her.
I mean, like, if this relationship is as great as it is otherwise described to be, you just like talk things like this out, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it is just a little kink and she's willing to indulge it sometimes, not all the time. And they have that sort of understanding.
Communication is key here.
Or maybe for some crazy reason, he thinks you're really into it. And he similarly thinks this is super bizarre, but I have to feed this girl.
I don't think so. She'd rather eat chips on the couch.
We are only hearing this from one side, though. You never know.
I want to hear his side. Like, watch someone else post, like, I really love to feed beautiful women in mouth.
Communication, though, right? Communication's everything.
Yeah, this one we could give some honest, straightforward advice, and it's talk to your partner about, their needs, their wants, their feelings, and your feelings as well. Maybe you would like some independence in your eating routine. I can appreciate that. So can a lot of people. So, we're here for you.
Well said, Christy. All right, next one. I live at home with my dad. He recently got Instagram, and we follow each other.
Uh-oh.
I don't think he realizes that his likes and comments and followed accounts are public. He follows loads of foot fetish accounts and he likes loads of pictures of women's feet. He obviously has a foot fetish. I'm worried about what this means for my home life. I normally just walk around the house barefoot without a second thought, but I don't know if that's still appropriate. He has shown no evidence that he likes my feet. Yeah, this is her dad she's talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay. But I wouldn't walk around the house topless because it's not appropriate, given that he clearly thinks of feet as sexual objects. It is also inappropriate for me to be barefoot, ? Is that how, like, I don't have a foot fetish. I know there's a few Simply videos where I've joked about putting your foot in my mouth, but I'm just sort of like...
Yeah, you're joking.
I'm just kidding around.
But there is a Wiki Feet profile for me.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good foot rating, I think.
Which is weird, because I have really flat, skinny feet, so I don't know why
your feet are different. They're unique. They've got character.
They're like penguin, weird, floppy noodle feet.
But sorry, where I was going with, like, people with a foot fetish, I don't think it's necessarily that you're not just finding anyone's feet attractive necessarily. Like, feet don't just become sexual objects to those people the same way, breasts are, I wouldn't think. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So
you're saying you find the foot attractive if you're interested in that person?
That's what I would guess, but I'm not a guy who's into feet. So if you're really into feet, comment down below.
Is it the foot or is it the person with the foot?
Does it matter? Does it matter the person the foot is connected to?
Yeah.
I think this girl's overthinking it, but I think you should somehow find a way of letting your dad know that he shouldn't like porn on Twitter because people are going to see that.
I think that the issue here isn't, my dad's going to find my feet attractive. It's, I need to educate my dad on the realities of social media. You got to be the parent in this situation, girl.
Even if there's because you wouldn't want to have like an actual conversation about this, right? There has to be some sort of a way of like just dropping the information that what they like and do on social media is observable to the people that follow them.
You would just be like, hey dad, by the way, what are your settings at for Instagram? Did you know that there's a public and a private? Just so you know. What's your phone? Do you want me to help you with that?
Maybe it's funnier if we don't teach old people this though, right? Like there's been some funny examples of like politicians who use Twitter and have like accidentally liked like porn and stuff.
Or people on Zoom who don't know the camera's on.
Yeah. Let's not get into that.
So what you're saying is you enjoy when old people don't understand technology and then they mess up?
Well, I don't want people to embarrass themselves when they're just doing things in their bedroom they think are private. Mm-hmm. But if you have some conservative senator who wants to outlaw homosexuality and then they accidentally like gay porn on Twitter, I don't think it's the worst thing that people are exposed for their hypocrisy.
Yeah.
All right, next question. So anytime my husband is talking to my cat in a very sweet voice, he will tell her that she is a soup cat and makes jokes about eating her and putting her in a soup. I tell him not to say that and even smack him on the arm to get him to stop. Because he will just keep telling her that, she's gonna go in the soup, and until I have a smoke coming out of my ears. If she does something silly or dumb, he will say, and that's why you're going in the soup. And when I get really upset, he tells her that she doesn't have a daddy. He will even whisper it into her ear and look me in the eyes while he does it. I don't know if this is related, but he is half Vietnamese. That took a weird turn. I've asked him why he says these things to her, and he just tells me that he doesn't need to explain himself. When I smack him on the arm to make him stop, he just laughs at me. Seriously, what should I do? This has been going on for a month now.
I think you should put him in the soup.
Put him... Just maybe let's quickly acknowledge, I know there are some cultures where it is more normal to eat dogs and cats, I guess, out of necessity, because these tends to be poorer regions. So just to acknowledge that comment came up. I have no idea if like Vietnamese has anything to do with that.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like maybe an assumption.
This sounds more like just a scenario where, here's my lens on it. Sometimes when Zyler is misbehaving, especially when we were first dating, I would joke with you that I was just going to put him in the oven.
It's awful. Like, it's so bad. And you would never say this on a public platform.
Well, I am
you
right
just
now.
said it. Yeah, shit. You just, you said it to me.
There's no serious intent behind it.
But so did my roommates when I lived with 5 guys, said the same kind of shit. Like, probably way worse.
But you know what it is? I think it's the male brain.
It's
like,
dumb.
There
Is soup.
No, there's like this weird idea that like being flirtatious with a girl is kind of just teasing them.
Yeah, making fun of them.
So it's kind of teasing you to be like, I'm going to throw your cat in the oven just to kind of get a rise out of you, because it's a way of getting attention. Yeah. It's why like in grade school, boys will often first express their interest in girls by like picking on them.
Yeah.
And I think that just sort of continues into adulthood for some people. But I never had any, I wasn't serious. But I think this guy's kind of doing the same. He's whispering in your cat's ear while looking at you.
Yeah, he just wants your reaction.
Like, I'm going to put you in the soup. He's trying to get a rise out of her. And he thinks it's a cute thing. But it sounds like at a certain point, she's genuinely concerned about this.
But I can, like, sometimes when you learn that your partner is annoyed by something, you do one of two things. You stop. Yeah. Or you keep going because you just love annoying them. So I think at this point...
That sounds like a healthy relationship.
Yeah, she's made it clear that she doesn't like it. And he keeps doing it because he thinks it's funny and cute that she doesn't like it. Maybe he likes her reaction when she's mad at him.
Yeah, I mean, maybe she is making nothing out of this. And this is just some little goofy
why
joke.
Does he tell the cat that she doesn't have a daddy? That one makes... The soup jokes are kind of funny, but like, that doesn't have a daddy. Like, well, why aren't you the daddy?
Yeah.
Because you adopted the cat, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're Menchie's dad.
Well, we got Menchie together. Zyler is from...
You're Zyler's dad, too.
Yeah, but like, I had to embrace that role in a way that I didn't with Menchie, because we got Menchie together.
Sure, but this is her husband.
Yeah.
So I can't believe...
Maybe he's just hungry.
I think he just... Maybe he just has a really, funny sense of humor.
This sounds like dad humor.
Yeah, it does sound like that. And maybe she doesn't like it, but if you feel compelled to have a serious conversation with your husband about whether or not he actually thinks that he's going to put the cat in the soup, then I would have that just to clear the air and make sure that's not his intention. He doesn't have any real intention of harming the cat.
That kind of ruins his joke, though. Because every joke, there needs to be just like a nugget of actual...
Oh my God. It's been going on for a month. Only a month?
Yeah, what's the... Okay. She needs to relax. I've been trying to put Zyler in the oven for 7 years.
No, you have not, Ben. It's not funny. I'm going to smack you on the arm now.
All right, last one from the Reddit. My boyfriend and I have been together for 7 months, and it's been great. I joined his friend group and befriended the other 2 girlfriends in the group, one of whom is dating T. T is a lovely guy. An example, if his girlfriend asks for a glass of water, he'll say, "Sure thing, babe," and he'll get her a glass of water. My boyfriend and his friends make fun of T constantly for being a quote-unquote simp. They insist that doing anything nice for your girlfriend or admitting any love at all for her means you are a simp. It's getting to the point where my boyfriend won't hold my hand while on a walk because he doesn't want to be a simp. He's affectionate at home or when he's just with me, and I know that he loves me, but if I'd ask him to do a face mask with me, he'd decline without giving it a shot because that's being a simp. What is going on? When did showing any affection or being nice to your girlfriend become being a simp? How can I get him to stop thinking being a simp is a bad thing? This is really sad, right? And like,
Yeah.
I want to point out, probably isn't a new thing. Like when we were younger, if a guy was spending a lot of time to his girlfriend and like openly being affectionate with her, his male friends might make fun of him for being whipped, right? Or you'd hear a term like pussy whipped. I don't know how offensive that is
I
these
think
days.
no one would use that term today.
Is that bad? I don't know.
But when we were like 16, that's the term people would use. And now I think it's the same sentiment. Yeah. People are just using the word simp.
But you would only hear it from like
other
children with a mindset who don't understand what a healthy relationship
other young boys,
looks
like young teenage boys, or maybe early 20s. I don't know. It depends on their maturity level.
And here's the kind of sad thing. I think it's just a reality that women are often just more mature than men, especially at a younger age. And so there often is this sort of imbalance that if people of the same age are dating, sometimes you'll see like the women are just like more emotionally mature than the men. And so the woman is more likely to put up with kind of bullshit like this. But I would,
and the boy in this scenario is more likely to be immature and listen to his friends who are telling him like, "Oh, you can't get your girlfriend a glass of water, you simp." Like, what the heck? Like, the example used here like demonstrates how ridiculous the threshold for what apparently being a simp is. Like, you do something nice for your girlfriend? Oh, you're a simp.
Yeah, no, that's absurd. But it's important to have friends to keep you kind of grounded in a way, and that could apply to relationships too. Like if you have a friend who starts dating someone and all of a sudden all he is doing is subservient to her and everything he does is for her benefit, it kind of helps to have a friend group to be like, hey man, like what are you doing? Do you realize like you're not hanging out with your friends anymore, or you don't have any interests of your own and you're just, serving her? That's not a bad thing. But this is just such that is such an extreme and I think pretty rare example. And this is just applying it to like just being nice to your partner isn't a sign of weakness like I think these boys are trying to suggest it is.
Yeah, I think there's better words you can use that signal that this is a problem. Like if someone's being controlling like who you can hang out with or what you can do, or manipulative, or alienating you from your friends and family. Those are all words that describe situations where there is a valid concern and your friends should interject and talk to you about it. But going to and like doing nice favors,
holding your girlfriend's hand.
Yeah, like it isn't that. And it is kind of sad to see young people use this language and apply it to like nothing at all. Like you do something nice for your girlfriend and all of a sudden it's a bad thing to your male friends. Like how did we get here? It's disheartening.
It's nothing new. I don't know if we got here. I think that's kind of always been the case, right?
I guess you're right. It's just now we're seeing it all over the internet in Reddit forums.
Well, and just the words change for it. Now it's simp. It used to be whipped. It probably was something before that. And before that, women weren't really considered people.
Oh, great.
It wasn't that long ago.
Now we are people, but you do too much for us.
Yeah, now you're not our property anymore.
Yeah. According to this, though, like you're a super simp because you get me tea all the time.
Super.
Whenever I ask for it.
Get the new SimplyPodLogical merch, Super Simp.
Super Simp. Super Simply. Like, no one would know what we're referring to.
I'm a Simply Nailogical fan.
Yeah.
Am I a simp by this definition? Because I get you tea and stuff?
Yeah. But so is like every good guy I know.
How many other good guys do you know?
None. I don't know any. I put them all in the soup.
Yeah, no, here's the thing too. There's a gratification in clearly part of my love language is I like doing things for you. Mm-hmm. And I enjoy taking care of you. Like I hope I don't do it in a infantilizing kind of way. Like I don't
try and feed me.
I don't want to I'm not trying to spoon feed you baby food. But yeah, I get gratification from supporting you or taking care of you in some context.
And you've been doing that all week because I've been like basically immobile.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do you want to talk about this, Cristine? Like you threw out your back, basically. Mm-hmm. Do you want to get into more specific than that? Or?
I went to physio, so I have some answers, but high level, my body was born this way. I have flat feet, one leg longer than the other. general joint pain, and as a result of that, like I have my hips are off balance, and over time, even though I'm like strength training, which is good and would be recommended or is recommended by physio, sometimes if one leg is longer than the other, you can accidentally pull harder on one side, and so the joints in your hips can like turn more on one side and cause strain when they trigger like strings of certain muscles. My physio said this in proper terms, but he explained to me exactly what he thought was going on and showed me like a dummy skeleton and explained. So yeah, that's what happened to me. And
you've been like on the couch.
I've been on the couch. I couldn't sit or stand for more than like 10-20 minutes without the pressure building and causing an intense like sharp shooting pain in my lower back, just on one side where my leg is longer. So I've been on the couch with a heating pack. I'm feeling a bit better now. That's why we're able to film this. But yeah, I couldn't film a Simply video. All my stuff for Holo Taco for the next collection is behind because I couldn't swatch.
Well, yeah, and that's coming up very soon.
That is coming up soon. So yeah, I kind of feel like a big piece of poop who didn't get much done all week. But during that time, Ben was
a super simp.
And he got me food, he got me tea, he got me soup. There was no cat in it, though.
No.
Thankfully.
I didn't put a cat in the soup.
Yeah. He drove me to physio. He helped me. He put a pillow, where I needed it.
And you would do the same for me if
you were falling apart.
Off kilter.
If you were falling apart.
Yeah. No, but I'm glad you're feeling better. And
not 100%, but
yeah,
I'm not dying.
This year has been kind of like a wake-up call to
curse.
like take...
I mean, this year has been a curse.
We're getting older. We got to take better care of ourselves, I think.
I'm getting older.
Your 30s is when, I think a lot of like nagging health issues and things, you start noticing things like your body not feeling as great when you first get out of bed in the morning, Like, I'm not complaining. We're still pretty young and healthy, right? But we're getting older.
Yeah, just got...
too old for YouTube.
Demon eyes and... one leg longer than the other. Like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I think this year is just cursed.
Yeah, for a lot. Yeah.
So 2020, rest in peace.
See y'all later. Bye.
Well, no, we're acting like it's December 31st, but
we're getting
it's only November. So
this is also election week in the States. Good luck with that. Vote if you haven't already.
Yes. And we'll be praying.
And the Holo Taco. Do you want any teases, Cristine? Have you been hiding your hands enough in this video? That's coming very soon. Would a teaser email have gone out? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, you'll know more about that soon.
It's coming soon. It's going to be a cold, frosty winter.
All right, apologies to Alex Wasabi. We were going to have him on, but we ran out of time. Yeah.
Did he submit in the Reddit forum for advice?
Yeah, I think most of these were from him.
I don't think so.
Yeah. What was his intro? It was so cringy. Do you remember that? Hey, what it be, what it do though?
Oh my god, okay.
What did he do?
I feel like most people watching or listening to this don't know who you're talking about. So it's fine. It's
people
fine.
Know Alex
let's not. Right? Let's be kind
he
to our neighbors.
He was dating Lord
We're all
DIY.
gonna be kind to our neighbors.
What it be, what it do though?
We have
he's
respect
like, it's like
for
baby
all
talk.
Creators.
I bet he's the one who was spoon feeding the women.
Ben! I'm going to have a new podcast called Ben Stop, and you're not going to be on it.
What it is, what it be, what it do though.
Okay, everyone. I want to wish you a happy Taco Tuesday. Have a good week. Everyone, just take a deep breath. We're going to get through this. And by this, I mean the rest of 2020. We're going to get through it. It's going to be okay. Everything is fine. Guys, I'm fine.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. See you next Taco Tuesday.
We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
You